Looking at her watch at this point, they are subtly winding and winding and winding them up. They are slowly loosening that tap, letting more water come out.
የሰው ልጅ አያደርገውም ተብሎ ታስቦ የነበረውን 42.195 ኪሎ ሜትር የጎዳና ላይ ሩጫን ሰዓት ኢትዮጵያውያን አትሌቶች በአስገራሚ ብቃት አሻሻሉት። ውስብስብ የሆነውን የታክቲክ ጥበብ፣ የልብ ምት ቁጥጥርንና ከምንም በላይ ደግሞ የማያቋርጥ ትዕግስትን የሚጠይቀውን የጥበብ ሥራ ተካኑበት። የዓለም አትሌቲክስም በቅርቡ እንዲህ አለ። አዳዲስ ክብረወሰኖችን አጽድቅ ያለው የዘመናዊ ማራቶን ሩጫን በበላይነት በሚገባ የሚያሳየው አንዱ ደግሞ ይህ የትዕግሥት አሰፋ የ2026 የለንደን ማራቶን ሰዓት ነው። 2:15:41 በዓለም ላይ በሴቶች ብቻ የተሮጠ አዲሱ የዓለም ክብረወሰን ሆኖ በይፋ ይጸድቃል ሲል የዓለም አትሌቲክስ አሳወቀ። የተወደዳችሁ የአትሌቲክስ ወዳጆች የዓለም አትሌቲክስ በይፋ ያጸደቀውን የሴቶች ብቻ የዓለም ክብረወሰን የትዕግሥት አሰፋን አስገራሚ ውድድር ይዘን መተናል። ይህንን ቪዲዮ ስፖንሰር ያደረገው ግራንድ አፍሪካን ራን ነው።
ሰላም ጤና ይስጥልኝ። ሰላምታዬ በያላችሁበት ይድረሳችሁ ያልኩኝ እንኳን ለስምንተኛ ጊዜ ለመካሄደው የግራንድ አፍሪካ ራን በሰላም አደረሳችሁ ላለሁ። እንደምታወቀው የግራንድ አፍሪካ ራን ከዚህ በፊት ለሰባተኛ ጊዜ ተደርጓል። አሁን ደግሞ ለስምንተኛ ጊዜ ኦክቶበር 10 ላይ በዋሽንግተን ዲሲ እና በቨርጂኒያ አካባቢ ይደረጋል። ከናንተ ጋር ለመሮጥና ከናንተ ጋር ጥሩ ጊዜ ለማሳለፍ በጉጉት ላይ ይገኛለሁ። ኦክቶበር 10 በዋሽንግተን ዲሲ እና በአካባቢው እንገናኝ። አመሰግናለሁ።
ባለፈው ዓመት በተመሳሳይ ቦታ በለንደን አስመዝግባ የነበረው 2:15:50 የዓለም ክብረወሰን ተሰረዘ። በ9 ሰከንዶች ተሻሻለ። የ29 ዓመቷ ኢትዮጵያዊት ኮከብ ድንቅ የታክቲክ ጥበብን አሳየች። በለንደኑ ውድድር ኬንያዊው ሴባስቲያን ሳዌ የዓለም የወንዶች የማራቶን ሰዓትን ከ2 ሰዓት በታች ከዮሚፍ ቀጀልቻ ጋር በጋራ በገባበት መድረክ ትዕግሥት አሰፋም አዲስ ታሪክ ሰራች። በ2023 በበርሊን ማራቶን ሴቶችና ወንዶች በጋራ ሆነው በሮጡበት ወንድ አራሯጭ ተግባራዊ በነበረበት ሪከርድን 2:11:53 ከሰበረችበትና ገና ከጅምሩም ውድድሩን አፈትልካ በበላይነት ከመራችበት ጊዜ በተለየ መልኩ የዘንድሮው የለንደን ውድድር ሙሉ በሙሉ የተለየ ታክቲክን ይጠይቅ ነበረ። የዘንድሮው የሴቶች ኤሊት ተወዳዳሪዎች በማራቶን ታሪክ እጅግ ፈታኝ ከሚባሉት ተርታ የሚመደቡ ናቸው። ኬንያውያኑ ጠንካራ ተፎካካሪዎች የ3 ጊዜ የኦሎምፒክ ሜዳሊስቷ ሄለን ኦቢሪና የ2021 የለንደን ማራቶን አሸናፊዋ ጆይሲሊን ጄፕኮስጌይ ከትዕግሥት ጋር የተፋለሙ ናቸው። ትዕግሥትም በከፍተኛ ፍጥነት ብቻ ማሸነፍ እንደማይቻላት ገና ከጅምሩ ተረድተው ነበረ። በኢትዮጵያዊቷ ጽጌ ገብረሰላማና ኬንያዊቷ ሜሪያም ቺቤት ዙር አክራሪነት እየተመሩ አጋማሹን ማራቶን 1:06:12 እጅግ ፈጣን በሆነ ሰዓት ተሻገሩ። የውድድር አክራሪዎቹ 27ኛው ኪሎ ሜትር ላይ ከወጡ በኋላ ውድድሩ ወደ ከፍተኛ የታክቲክ ፉክክር ተቀየረ። ሄለን እጅግ ጠንካራ አትሌት ናት። እናም ዘንድሮ የተለየ ታክቲክ ነበር የተጠቀምኩት ስትል ትዕግሥት አሰፋ ትናገራለች። ወደ ውድድሩ ማብቂያ አካባቢ ሄለን ትመራ ነበረ። የኔ ታክቲክ ደግሞ ዝም ብሎ መጠበቅና ትዕግሥት ማድረግ ነበረ። የመጨረሻዎቹ 400 ሜትሮች እስኪደርሱ ጠብቄ ነበር ፍጥነቴን የተጠቀምኩት አለች። ከ13 ማይል በላይ ትዕግሥት ኦቢሪና ጄፕኮስጌይ ትከሻ ለትከሻ እየተፋጠጡ እስከ 40ኛው ኪሎ ሜትር ድረስ እኩል ሰዓት እያስመዘገቡ ተጉዘዋል። ኦቢሪ በመጨረሻ ኪሎ ሜትሮች ላይ ፍጥነት በመጨመር ውድድሩን ለመምራት ብትሞክርም የቀድሞ የ800 ሜትር የትራክ ተወዳዳሪዋ ትዕግሥት አሰፋ ግን ከኋላዋ እንደ ጥላ ትከተላታለች። ሶስቱ አትሌቶች ወደ ታዋቂው ዘሞል ጎዳና ከበኪንግሃም ቤተመንግስት ፊት ለፊት ሲታጠፉ ትዕግሥት የቀድሞ የትራክ ላይ ፍጥነቷን አወጣች። በመጨረሻዎቹ 400 ሜትሮች አስደናቂ ማርሽ በመቀየር አፈትልካ በመውጣት 2:15:41 አሸናፊ ሆና አጠናቀቀች። ኦቢሪ በቅርብ ርቀት 2:15:53 የግል ምርጥ ሰዓቷን በማስመዝገብ ሁለተኛ፣ ጄፕኮስጌይ 2:15:55 በመግባት ሶስተኛ ደረጃን ያዘች። በዓለም አትሌቲክስ ታሪክ 3 አትሌቶች በአንድ ውድድር ላይ ከ2 ሰዓት ከ16 ደቂቃ በታች በጋራ የገቡበት የመጀመሪያው ውድድርም ተባለ። የትዕግሥትን የበላይ የበላይነት ሙሉ በሙሉ ለመረዳት ወደ ኋላ መለስ ብሎ ያልተጠበቀውን የስኬት ጉዞዋን ማየት ያስፈልጋል። ከ10 ዓመት በፊት ትዕግሥት አሰፋ ኢትዮጵያን ወክላ በ2016 ሪዮ ኦሎምፒክ በ800 ሜትር የተወዳደረች የትራክ አትሌት ነበረች። በተደጋጋሚ ባጋጠማት ጉዳት ምክንያት የትራክ ውድድር ህይወቷ ሲገታ ብዙዎች በከፍተኛ ደረጃ ወደ ውድድር የመመለሷ ነገር አበቃላት ብለው ነበረ። እቺ አትሌት 2022 ላይ የሪያድ ማራቶንን ሮጠች። ከጉዳት በኋላ ለመጀመሪያ ጊዜ ሩጫን ስታደርግ 2:34:01 ነበር የገባችው። በ2022 የበርሊን ማራቶንን የቦታውን ክብረወሰን በመስበር ድንገተኛ ድልን አስመዘገበች 2:15:37። ከዚያም በአመቱ 2023 የበርሊን ማራቶንን 2:11:53 ገብታ የዓለም ክብረወሰን ሰበረች። በፓሪስ ኦሎምፒክ የብር ሜዳሊያ መውሰድ ቻለች። የለንደን ማራቶንን 2:15:50 ገብታ በሴቶች ብቻ የተሮጠ አዲስ የዓለም ክብረወሰንን ያዘች። አሁን ደግሞ የዓለም አትሌቲክስ ያጸደቀላትን 2:15:41 በለንደን ዳግም በ2026 ገባች። ባለፉት 7 ተከታታይ የማራቶን ውድድሮች ትዕግሥት 4 አስደናቂ ድሎችንና 3 የብር ሜዳሊያዎችን ማሳካት ስትችል የዓለም ክብረወሰኖችን ደግሞ 3 ጊዜ መስበር ችላለች። ተከታታይ የለንደን ማራቶን ድሎችን አስመዝግባና የሴቶች ብቻ የዓለም ክብረወሰንን መቆናጠጥ የቻለችው እቺ አትሌት ትኩረቷ አሁን ማገገምና ቀጣይ የዓለም ክብረወሰንን መስበር ሆኗል። በሴቶች ማራቶን ወንዶች እንዳሯሯጭ ሆነው የሚተገበሩበትን የዓለም ክብረወሰን ለመስበር አሁንም አልማለች። 2:09:56 በሩት ቼፕንጌቲች የተያዘውን ክብረወሰን ትዕግሥት ለመስበር ወስናለች። ለስኬቴ የተለየ ሚስጥር የለኝም ትላለች ትዕግሥት። ሁልጊዜ የሚታይባት ትህትና ነው። ጠንክሬ ልምምድ አደርጋለሁ። እናም ባፈሰስኩት ላብና ጥረት ልክ ይህንን ስኬት አግኝቻለሁ። ወደፊት የምንጊዜም የዓለም ክብረወሰንን መልሼ ማግኘት እፈልጋለሁ ብላለች። በ2028ቱ የሎስ አንጀለስ ኦሎምፒክ እንዲሁም ሌሎች ዋና ዋና የማራቶን ውድድሮች ከፊቷ የሚጠብቋት እቺ አትሌት ትዕግሥት አሰፋ አሁን የዓለም የሴቶች ብቻ የማራቶን ክብረወሰን ባለቤት ሆና በዓለም አትሌቲክስ ክብሯ ጸድቆላታል። ትዕግሥት አሰፋ እንኳን ደስ አለሽ። የዚህ ቪዲዮ ስፖንሰር ግራንድ አፍሪካ ረን 8ኛው መድረክ ነው።
ይህ ዝግጅት የተሳካ እንዲሆን አእምሮ ደምቆ እዚህ እንዲደርስ ላደረጉ ወይም ደግሞ ይሄኛው ውድድርም በተሳካ ሁኔታ እንዲዘጋጅ ላደረጉ አካላት ምስጋና ማቅረብ ፈልጋለሁ። በአካባቢ የሚገኙ ቮለንተሮች እንደዚሁም ደግሞ ስፖንሰሮች፣ ይህን ውድድር እንዲሳካ ያደረጉ አካላት በሙሉ፣ የሚዲያው ማህበረሰብም እንዲሁም ደግሞ ተሳታፊዎች በሙሉ ከልብ አመሰግናለሁ።
Half marathon in New York. It's net downhill, so it's very quick. You can't take the times for records or anything like that. But the nature of the race there, Agnes Ngetich, a phenomenal athlete, went flying through the first 10 kilometres, just outside 30 minutes. And the first 10 kilometres of that half marathon is tough, and Helen Obiri looked absolutely fine. And Ngetich imploded. Obiri flew away, lowered the course record at that event by some 30 seconds or so, beating Sharon Lekady, who just went on to dominate Boston Marathon. So all the indications in the build-up are that Helen Obiri is in phenomenal shape. And at this point in her career, for the Kenyan woman, the track superstar, to choose to come to a faster marathon, I don't know, I love the fact that she's gone to those tough courses and just tried to win races. But to come here to this fast race, she must feel very ready to expose herself in this race and not hide on those hilly courses, to come up against Assefa and JEPKOSGEI. She must be very confident in her abilities.
I wouldn't say hiding necessarily for those races, but I know exactly what you mean. They are races without pacemakers, and they're very we're seeing a bit. I'm going to cut to the fact that Tigst is making a move here, and Helen's reacted. I'm not sure if Joyciline liked that quite as much, but Helen has reacted, and this is a definite move from Tigst. I felt like she was biding her time, just hovering back to listen. Helen's pumping the arms a bit here. Joyciline's reacting, but I have to say, Tigst, she's a deceptive runner. When she's working hard, she still looks pretty relaxed, but this is a very deliberate move here. She's clearly chosen a part of the course where it's a little bit twisty, a little bit where you have to take the tangents, and we'll see if she's going to keep this going. Because if you make a move, you have to see it through. You can't just ease back. You have to see it through. And Helen's She's, again, it's clearly a move around the drink station, and the girls nearly ran past it.
Assefa did not take the drink here at this stage. Now, Helen OBIRI, I noted down, she missed her drink at 25 kilometres. She went for it and missed it. So I think that the real movement across the road there from OBIRI, she could not miss this drink. Having missed the previous one, she absolutely had to go and get that. And Assefa didn't. And Sebastian Salwe's move last year at 30 kilometres, skipping that drink deliberately and powering off, that was impressive, and I'm sure Assefa would have seen that. That for me, Assefa has started a charge here. I wonder how deliberate it was that it's around about that drink station and wondering whether those two will go for it and I won't. But Assefa, she just looks dialed in. She, for me, out of this three, she looks the most relaxed as well. We've mentioned the form of OBIRI. It's always a little bit more active than some other athletes, but JEPKOSGEI isn't looking as smooth as Assefa either. I think for me, the defending champion at the moment in the driving seat.
I think that was a very deliberate ploy to make picking up a drink almost potentially forget it, or just make it hard to get the drink on board. I think she knows, like you said, she knows she's going to miss it, so she's going to make it awkward for the athletes to not just pick up the drink, but also drink it and get it, the fuel on board.
I mean, if you're going to miss a drink, at the front, and we'll catch up with the rest of the athletes in the field. Amanangole holding on to 4th place at the moment. She's on around 2:18 pace. Azamara is in 5th. And Ailish McColgan in 7th place at the moment. The top Brit on for 2 hours 22:26. And locked behind her, Rose Harvey, Jessica Warner-Judd running very well. Julia Patanine of Uruguay is in 10th place at the moment, still threatening the South American record. She's on 2:24.40 pace. She's going to need to pick up ever so slightly if she's going to get that continental record. But I mentioned last time I did an update on the women's field. They really are spread out. Perhaps Rose Harvey, Jessica Warner-Judd running together. Everyone else, the 14 women in this elite field, are basically running solo.
It's a tough way to run a marathon, that, and I think that's the nature of having these women's-only races, is you are signing up to potentially quite a lonely run.
In contention with Patrick Diva, Mohammed for a British title.
We're looking at around 15 minutes left of this, and that matters because, again, at this stage you're looking at the clock of time that's left rather than distance. You're just trying to gauge that effort, and we're getting some of the past results of last year. Tigst won in 2 hours 15:50, which was and still is a women's only world record. Paris Chepchicha 2:16:16. You can see they're inside all those times at the moment, and Helen does look like she's happy to kind of just get into her own pace here and push, and she will be testing. The weaving suggests to me that she's not full throttle. She's not got her head fully in the game of pushing out and trying to get away from these athletes. She's just moving to the side to say, look, and it has dropped a little bit to 5:24, 5:28, 5:24. To me, that is a real significant sign that they're building up towards potentially a quick last mile.
Well, it was the next mile. It was mile 24 last year where Tigst Assefa pulled away with a 5:03 mile. It was really, really quick at that stage. So Assefa, she might have happy memories of making a move like that. She might just be biding her time. We've mentioned throughout this race that OBIRI, we weren't expecting to see her at the front. I think the fact that she's there means she's feeling very good. And it's a mental battle with yourself. You know, do you need to tuck in, relax and zone out? JEPKOSGEI perhaps just thinking, I've got one big move left in me. Let's wait and see what Assefa does. Let's wait and see what OBIRI does. And OBIRI, perhaps, sometimes you want to put the pressure on those around you. And Assefa, you know, she'll know that OBIRI is not a natural leader, and that, you know, she'll be getting in her head as well. The Ethiopian will be thinking, well, how good is Helen feeling? If she's you know, thrown away all of the team orders and she's at the lead. So there's so many things that go on in athletes' minds at this point, and whether you're surviving or thriving can really, you know, determine what you're going to do in this pack.
It's almost like it's a guessing game until you get the answer laid bare in front of you, and no one's out. They're all very much in it, as we are in the elite women. All three of these ladies could win this race as well. These are two very, very open races right now, and we're coming up towards the Big Ben sign, as you mentioned earlier, Hannah. This is very much a comforting sign, but also a sign where I have to say I've been involved in too many sprint finishes at the end of the London Marathon, thankfully, because you do all that effort, you get to 26 miles. Oh, wow. Helen has thrown down a 5:04. I have to say, this is unexpected. Absolutely brilliant, but unexpected.
Helen OBIRI has done a Tigst Assefa from last year.
She
Assefa did a 5:03 at this point, and what what a mental game to play. Kind of instead of, like we said on this men's side, everyone waiting for Sebastian Salwe's big move, for Helen Obiri to say, oh cool, yeah, I read what you did last year, I'll have a go. And off a faster pace, Helen Obiri dropping a 5:04, and now it's her turn to invite Assefa through. And Assefa, because she can't say no. She asked that question 10 minutes ago. You can't very well not take up the invitation of Helen Obiri. Go for it. As Obiri's going to try and get that drink. Oh, that's good sportswomanship from these three. I think if you're in a track race and there was a gap open up like that, or you felt a competitor was boxed, you just go for it. But I think at this point, coming up on 2 hours and 10, I think that was good from Assefa just to say, all right, come on, let's all get our drinks and then do battle.
I tell you what, like in a Formula One sense, you have the line. I think she had every right to hold it, but fair play, she didn't. She got it because again, at this stage, I know we're coming to the final stages. What these ladies are doing right now is they're getting that fuel into their mouth, and what that is doing is getting messages to the brain just to give them that pep. It's not going to get into their stomachs and fuel their muscles, but it's going to get the message to the brain just to give them that extra little bit for the end. But that was, fair play. That I have to say, that is what I like to see. Hopefully that will translate to a fair result at the end. But that was it. That was a quick mile from Helen, really quick, and we're still just inside women's only world record pace.
It's a 2:08:27 through 40 kilometres for the lead three athletes. We mentioned the long straight towards Big Ben, the optical illusion. Because once you're at Big Ben, you can just start to think about the finish and the relief of that it just dangles there in front of you. Tigst Assefa looking good, tucked in behind Helen Obiri. JEPKOSGEI still full of running. And I wonder the confidence from JEPKOSGEI from that 2:14 in Valencia. We know
race as we move across. They take a turn to the right at Big Ben. They're coming into the final mile now. This is going to get very, very interesting very, very quickly. This is, for me, was always a bit of a nuisance just to get down, to get onto the mile. But at the same time, the comfort to know that you are going to start seeing the signs that says 800 metres to go, 400 metres to go. But they need to concentrate. This is the part where you need to concentrate because little things matter and your body is on the edge. You don't want to over-surge, over-move a little sideways movement because you don't want to start to create a little bit of cramp somewhere in the body. So they need to concentrate because every decision they make between now and the finish matters. Helen's at the front, she's punching the air, she's rocking and rolling as we talk, but it's no different to how she looked at the start. That is just how she moves. Assefa, 5:48, so they have significantly slowed and they're building up to a bit of a finish. We need to see if the women's only course record is world record is still on course, but the fact is the winner is still up for grabs.
At 5:48, we know there's a bit of an incline as you come up sort of off the embankment towards this corner, towards Big Ben, but at 5:48 for me, a significant slowing. I wonder if it's just starting to get tactical. Obiri was asking Assefa to come through to pick up the pace. Assefa at this point last year was out on the streets all on her own. She's not today. We got a three-woman battle as they approach St James's Park. You're right, Chris. Mentally, physically, tactically, emotionally, these women have got to measure their effort perfectly.
They do. And I'm looking at the faces right now. They are still inside women's only world record, the record that was set by Tigst last year. Helen's putting a little bit of a surge. You look at the faces, and Assefa, she looks calm, she looks relaxed, but don't let looks be deceiving. They're all very much in this. They're all very much battling to the end. And Helen's pumping her fist forward, getting that extra body movement forward from her upper body. It's very, very deceptive, very, very efficient, very, very powerful. And we're coming up to a right turn and another right turn, and they will see the finish. Are we going to see a three-way battle? Could we see one of the smallest winning margins we've seen in London Marathon history?
We've had some tremendous sprint finishes in major marathons, particularly on the men's side. When you think back to the World Championships, though, on the women's side, Tigst Assefa came out on the wrong side of that sprint finish. She came out on the wrong side of the sprint finish at the Olympic Games. Assefa was dominant last year. She's not going to dominate this year. What a treat to have three women side by side. Could we see a women's only world record? Surely the winner is going to be credited with that, but who is going to take the win?
Don't put me on the spot like that. I'm looking at it and I can't pick it because this is deceptive. I think Joyciline is looking a little bit like she's starting to peel off the back. Helen's looking at her watch at this point. They are subtly winding and winding and winding them up. They are slowly loosening that tap, letting more water come out. But this is going to be tight. And there is a small gap starting to appear from Tigst. This is a move. This is a genuine move. And she's started pumping her arms. Helen needs to react and quickly.
This race has been phenomenal from the elite women. 3 women locked in a battle until the very closing stages. Ttigist Assefa has been patient. Her tactics have been brilliant. She was responsible for keeping that pace on at around about the halfway point of this race. Assefa, she used to hold the world record. She's been on the podium of so many big marathons. It was a win last year in 2025. She decimated the field in the closing stages. This year, Ttigist Assefa had a tough task on her hands. Helen OBIRI, JEPKOSGEI pushed her all the way here on the streets of London, but in the end, it's going to be a second consecutive London Marathon victory for Ttigist Assefa of Ethiopia, the 3rd fastest woman of all time. She's already the women's only world record holder, and she's going to lower that mark by 10 seconds. What a run from Ttigist Assefa. Helen OBIRI, in her London Marathon debut, smashes her lifetime best, dips underneath 2:16, and JEPKOSGEI makes it 5 consecutive podium finishes at this race. Wow, the fist pump from Assefa. She knew she had a tough task today, and just a note to say, yes, she took 10 seconds off that.
የዚህ ቪዲዮ ስፖንሰር 8ኛው ግራንድ አፍሪካ ራን ሩጫ ነው።
ሰላም ያገሬ ልጆች ግራንድ አፍሪካ ራን በኦክቶበር 10 ይካሄዳል። ተሰባስበን ሩብ ጊዜ እንድናሳልፍ ሁላችሁንም እጋብዛችኋለሁ። ልጆች የበለጠ ከባህላቸው ጋር የሚቀራረቡበት ወገኖቻችን የሚሰባሰቡበት መድረክ ነው። በኦክቶበር 10 በአሌክሳንድሪያ ከተማ ተሰባስበን ጥሩ ጊዜ እናሳልፍ፣ አብረን እንሩጥ። ሁላችሁም ተጋብዛችኋል።
But she knew she had a tough task today, and just a note to say, yes, she took 10 seconds off that women's only world record. But Paula Radcliffe's course record survives, impossibly survives another year. I think the racing got the better of these athletes as they went into the penultimate mile there. Look at the emotion from Assefa. There was that 5:03 from Helen OBIRI. She had a go at breaking everyone, and then they just slowed down. They looked at each other. A brilliant podium and a wonderful, calm, composed win from Assefa.
Yeah, what a performance from all 3 ladies. They absolutely took to the roads of London and gave it an absolute pelting. For so long they were operating at 2:12, 2:13 pace. And as you say, I think the competition just got in the way of an even faster and, of course, record time of Paula's, as you say, stands for another year. But that's the nature of the beast. You need competition to stay hot and the pace to stay hot. But she takes the tape for the 2nd year running, and I think that will mean the world to her, and she's really cementing herself, Tigst, as one of the greatest marathon runners we've seen in modern times.
That was the dynamic we spoke about, Chris. The fact that we needed athletes to be aggressive with the pace in the final 3 or 4 miles. And did you want to come second underneath the 15:25 like that? What, you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care. It was one of those races that the win was the most important thing. And I think that was just really polarised for these 3 athletes. Really focused in on that for the last 3 miles. But a great run from Ttigist Assefa to take the win. I'm just focusing in on 4th place here. Have Amangole running well, but I think Kenyan has faltered slightly in the closing few miles. Thangitu Azemiro is the next athlete up on our screens. She is the athlete in 4th place as she comes through with 385 yards to go past Buckingham Palace. You Google London and you put it in and you see all the landmarks come up. It must be surreal to then come and race the London Marathon as an elite athlete. They clear the streets of the nation's capital. They line it, whack all the spectators on the side. You get to see those iconic marks, the London Eye, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace. Azemiro has run really well, a really good, calm race. A lifetime best of 2:17 back in 2021, coming 2nd at this event. And she's didn't really run another marathon for another 3 years after that. Azemiro looked poised to have a fantastic career in marathoning, and it's just had to take a bit of a hit in the last few years. But this fourth place here in the London Marathon, a great kind of return to form, if you like, for Asmara. Said she was inspired by the accomplishments of the likes of Tirunes Dababa and Meseret Tafar, brilliant Ethiopian athletes to look up to. Asmara is going to be back underneath 220. Fourth place finish here in the elite women. Showing the effort of the full marathon distance here. Those three are up on their feet. There's a lot of emotion kind of going on with the support staff, if you like, the agents, the coaches, the family, across the line here. And I don't know, Chris, as we look back just briefly on this race, Helen OBIRI, that 5:04 at 24 miles, was that the wrong call? Was it too much too early?
Listen, I think I'm sure the team will look back and see how they may have been able to do things differently. But at the moment, you just got to